Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Paula. I'm glad you're here. It's been a while again, but today I'm canning up black beans and I figured I'd take you along with me. As of late, I've been canning them as a one ingredient item. Like the pinto beans, instead of adding any kind of spices or seasoning other than salt, I'm just going with the one ingredient. Last year I did meals in a jar and they weren't bad. Like I did chicken and gravy, and that was a good starter for thickening up when you opened it and having it with mashed potatoes, or using it as a base for pot pie. But I'm really not a meal in a jar person. I also did, I think it was chicken chili verde, it might have been, and that was good too. But I prefer opening the jar and seasoning it to whatever it is I'm feeling like that day, instead of being held to Cuban black beans or black beans with Cuban seasoning. I'll do that after I open the jar. So I'm glad you're here with me. Let's get to canning our black beans. Come on. I love having a variety of beans on the shelf. And this is just pickling salt, a half a teaspoon in each pint jar. I also don't use the liquid that the beans were cooked in for canning. I have fresh water here that I prefer. And these go to 1-inch headspace with beans and liquid. I go a little under because I don't want the beans to expand so much that you get some leaking. I don't like siphoning, so I try to keep that from happening as much as possible. So I come in a little under the 1-inch headspace. If necessary, I will take some beans out. Like I said, I don't want to have any siphoning. And I use fresh hot water. These are just straight up black beans. As of late, I've been preferring just having the one ingredient versus like Cuban beans or chili beans. I prefer opening the jar and seasoning it to my liking when I decide what exactly it is I'm gonna be putting in there. Of course, you're gonna use your debubbling tool to get any air pockets out. And those look, this is actually a bit more than I want. Pull some out. And I'm gonna add a little bit more water. Just getting it there. You do the same thing with pie filling because it expands so much. You don't want any siphoning, especially with sweet. Pie filling being sweet, it just makes for a messy situation and causes jars not to seal because of the sweetness on top. So I am just going around with my vinegar and making sure there is nothing on top to block the seal. And then we'll do, I'm using Superb, and Superb, you're just barely fingertip top tight because it is a much thicker, well, not much thicker, it is a thicker canning lid. And so as soon as that's it. You really, that's it. As soon as it's spinning, you let it go. And you give that there we go. Okay. And we'll put these in the canner. We got ourselves 6 pints of black beans. Now I'm gonna put my top on. Sorry about my hands in front there. I put a little zhuzh of my white vinegar for the water, so there's no water spots, and that is closed nicely. I pump that heat up. You want to see a good amount of steam shooting out of there, and that's venting for 10 minutes. When it starts coming up, you get your timer going, and after 10 minutes you put your little weighted jiggler on. We'll come back to that. Okay, hopefully you can see it. There's a steady stream of steam coming out of there, and you want it to go for 10 minutes, and then you'll put your jiggler on. We'll come back for that. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. Here's my jiggler. On it goes. And let me fix it so you can see it. That quick, the pressure will start to go up. Now, I prefer the jiggler over the dial gauge because I can hear it. I don't have to sit in this kitchen staring at this to make sure. When you have a dial gauge, for my altitude, it's 11 pounds. I don't have to stay here watching that gauge, making sure it doesn't fall under 11 pounds. If your gauge goes below the proper weight and you didn't catch it for an indefinite amount of time, you got to start from scratch. So with my jiggler doing the little hula dance, I hear it, and I could sit in the living room because I can hear it going ch-ch-ch, and I'll show you that when it starts. But you can see it's already coming up. It's at 5 pounds of pressure. Okay, another tip. As it starts approaching the correct pounds of pressure, I start to pull back on my heat a little bit so that it's not full on high heat. And of course, with everybody's stoves are different, and you have to find that sweet spot that's going to hold the temp. And see, it goes. There she goes. And you know what's awesome? It's smack dab on 15 pounds. Look at that. I have had this canner since February of 21, and it is still correct at its pounds of pressure. I have not had to have it adjusted. I have not had to bring it to an extension office. Not that I need it, because she's a jiggling. And I'm gonna pull it back just a little bit more. And that's the correct amount of jiggling you want to see. You want it to be a steady rocking. And these beans need, I want to say 75 minutes, and we'll be back when we're ready to shut it. See where my flame is. It's just about at medium. When I was venting it and having it come up to pressure, it was on full blast. And now it's at medium, and you could hear it's holding steady very well. This is the exact kind of rocking motion you want, and you can hear it without any issues, and it's still beautifully at 15 pounds of pressure. We got ourselves 75 minutes to find something to do. Okay, timer went off. I put it on the other burner, and now it's coming off of pressure. You do not touch it until it is completely at zero, until the lock in the back has come down, and then you remove your jiggler and wait another 10 minutes before undoing the top. This process can take up to an hour. Okay, it has gotten to zero, and the lock has come down. Now the jiggler comes off, and we put the jiggler on the side, and we wait 10 more minutes. Okay, now we're going to take off the top. Get those drips off. Looks good. And there we go. That's the Superb Pop. There you go. I love the loud pop of the Superb lids. And there you have it. 3 already sealed, 6 pints altogether. Let them sit. Don't touch your canning jars for 12 to 24 hours. I will leave them here, and I will take care of them tomorrow. There you go, friends. As you can see, now there is only 5. Last night before I went to bed, I checked, and I knew one wasn't going to seal, and it didn't, so I popped it in the fridge. While one does not make me happy, it's still not a terrible outcome. And I can tell these are all sealed. You can see that they're concave. All that's left is giving them a little tubby, which you want to make sure with hot soapy water. You give it a good wash to get any possible, and you could see that jar is clean, but you do it just the same. And the headspace is perfect on it. As I said, beans are funny because they expand, and these beans look beautiful. They soaked up some water, but nothing terrible. Very happy. Also, I follow traditional canning methods, so I did a quick soak method. I didn't do the overnight method. I soaked them, boiled for 2 minutes, soaked for an hour, fresh water, boil for 30 minutes. I don't do any kind of rebel canning, so when you look at my videos, you'll know that. Alrighty, great session. I thank you for visiting with me. I hope if you're new, you'll consider subscribing. I have lots of videos on my channel, mostly cooking, some crafting. Until next time, go create something wonderful. Bye-bye.